Well, 2022. It's come to an end. And with that comes a bunch of models that I made over the year. Now, I know I've said that there are going to be like 3 more videos this year that I never ended up making, and I promise I'll explain where those went soon, but for now, to end off the year, let's take a look back at all the models I made in 2022. And I mean all of them, finished or unfinished. So let's not waste any time and get into it. Who better to start this list off with than Thomas? I bought this body shell off of Matt Mixed Traffic 206 at the Northland show in May. I received him warped. This was not my fault. I've tried over and over to fix the warp, but I just can't. I also received him in a black primer and didn't do any other primer on top of that, so I immediately painted him in Rust-Oleum Sail Blue, which came out much too dark. I persevered and finished him in a Season 5-ish style. He was done in time to meet Brendan's Thomas at his local model club. I'm currently working on a more accurate Season 3 style Thomas that I'll really try to get done in the new year. Percy is my most recent custom. I made him in about a week leading up to the Greenberg train show at Edison this past November. I printed Percy myself after purchasing the files from Noah the LBSE Thomas, and used Jamos's leaf spring scaled down. He is painted in Rust-Oleum Eden Green, which came out a bit lighter due to the white primer. You know, I really should switch to gray primer, but it's alright for now. He currently can't run on his own, so this Percy will be just a static or crash model if need be. Like Percy, I finished Toby really quickly. Like a day. Yeah, he was pretty fast. The print is by Ellsbridge Productions and is on a Shapeways store. I spray painted him dark brown and then brush painted over him with different colored browns to make the fading wood effect. I also cut up some polystyrene to make the window blanking to match the real prop. Gordon was one of the earlier customs I did. He was done before I had a 3D printer, so I had Noah print Gordon as it was his body shell. He then sent the print to me and I got to work. He's also painted in sail blue like Thomas, but his undercoat is white, making the color not as dark. Primer color does matter. His tender is a modified Bachmann-Gordon tender, with new pieces of polystyrene cut for the ends and to make the fake chassis block under the tender wheels. His drawbar is cut from the original and glued to the trailing wheel bogey, giving it a slightly tighter connection to the body, which I like a lot. This is just a quick mention as he's still early in making, but here's Rheneas' body shell. It's currently in a black primer as the color I used for him and Rusty are close in color, so the black is here to make him look darker than Rusty. Now onto the finished ones. Also one of the newer customs finished just before Percy. After I got the Bachmann Peter Sam, I reached out to Noah to ask if he could fit his O-gauge Peter Sam to this chassis. I sent him the chassis, and I received back the chassis and an adorable little Peter Sam body. He's painted in Tamiya Park Green, which looks a bit light, but again, that's down to the white primer. I then got a face for him from Rexecutions. The numbers and nameplates came from Narrow Planet back when I got Duncan's, Scarlois, Rheneas', and Duke's, all to be sure I have them when their models are done. Rusty came from T-Doc Shapeways along with Rheneas. To contrast with their close colors, Rheneas got a black primer and Rusty got a white primer, which worked very well. Rusty is one of my first weathering jobs, and I think it came out alright. He sits on a Kato chassis that runs just fine. This is an exciting one. Duke is made from the Pico Kato Princess model. The only thing I did to it was remove the little handrail knobs in the cab doors and sand off the rivets. I decided to leave his side rods red because I like the unique look of them. Back at the Mark show, Tom Austerity 1943 found the little DeCauville engine Wilbert used for his mine engine. They bought it, couldn't find a use for it, and sold it to me. A quick paint job later, and now I have Audrey's mine engine. To go along with my custom Thomas, I wanted an Annie and Clarabel. These are the same Annie and Clarabel seen in the reviews I did with my friends. Clarabel's guard compartment is made from several layers of Tamiya modeling putty. Annie also has a 3D printed coupler hook to interact with the custom Thomas. While their end couplings were removed, their inner hook and loops were kept since they are rarely seen separate from each other. Their running boards are spray painted in black and the body's in a Rust-Oleum orange, which I forget the name of. At the same time, I decided to make the missing coach. This is made from an old Clarabel and was made the same way as the other two. These three are still unfinished but will be done in the new year. After the Northland show in February, George Boldout 95 convinced me to make my own express coaches. These are standard Hornby Monsell coaches I bought off of Hatton's. They were painted using Tamiya TS2 and TS7, with all the little details removed and the ends being flattened with a piece of cardboard painted black. This one's pretty simple, but I made it this year, so it deserves a mention. This is a standard Pico CCT van kit assembled and painted mildly okay. It still needs couplers, but it'll do as for now. Now these ones are fun. Ada, Jane, Mabel, and Cora are all Shapeways prints made by Ellsbridge Productions. They were all painted in Tamiya TS23 and then had all the other colors hand-painted. It was a very slow and repetitive process, but they were all done in about 2 days. I then had to wait ages for the coupler parts, but once everything was said and done, I think they came out alright. Now for the big guy. If you're new to my channel, you might not even know I have a Gauge 1 Thomas, so here's his official introduction to my channel. If you follow me on Twitter though, or have been to the August or November Edison shows, you'll know about him. This Thomas was assembled and painted entirely by Noah, the LBSE Thomas. He wasn't happy with this guy and sold him off to Thomas Visionary Locomotive Works. I eventually bought the model off of him and fixed it up and gave this guy a new shot at life. This guy has quite the story, and even more story to tell when I do a video solely dedicated to him, so trust me, you won't want to miss that video. Stay tuned. And that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed seeing every model I made in 2022. There's so many more models to make in 2023, so be sure to follow me on Twitter for updates about new models. Once again, I'm sorry that content kind of halted these last 2 weeks, so I hope this makes up for it. Thanks for all your support this year, especially with the end of Tales of the NWR. And with that, I'm LEGO Master 365, and I'll see you in the new year. Bye!